Senator Rennick, if you've got a question for another candidate, floor's yours.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, Leo. My question's to Senator Roberts. You've repeatedly called me a liar for saying that you supported the two major parties in the hate crimes bill. I didn't say you voted for the bill. I said you supported the major parties and you voted against amendments that were going to exempt 14-year-olds. You voted against the good faith provision and you voted against having a review of it after 6 months. You voted against mandatory sentencing, removing the mandatory sentencing, allowing the judge to apply some discretion. However, you did vote for Matt Canavan's good amendment that didn't get up that wanted to clarify the definition of violence. Given that Plato once said that silence is consent, and we have worked together for many years calling out the two major parties, even when I was in the Liberal Party, for being silent on issues that mattered, don't you think that not voting against that hate crimes bill was actually supporting the two major parties? And why are you continually calling me a liar when many people view not taking a vote is actually supporting the bill?
Well, because you told a lie, Gerard. It's that simple. I've always trusted you, thought you were very honest until that time. I walked up to you in the Senate and said, you've just made a video saying that we supported the bill. And I said to you, that's not true, that's false. And you acknowledged that. And then I said, what you need to do is retract it. You acknowledged that, but you left it up there. And it was misleading, deliberately, blatantly misleading. Now, what we did was we sent a signal. Pauline and I were about to oppose the bill, because for two reasons: because of the way it was guillotined, but secondly, because of the language that was loose. But then we stopped and we paused, and we're not afraid to go against the two other groups. Six or 10 voted in an opposition, and only 2 of us abstained, and 66 or so voted for it. What we said was that there are aspects of the bill where we've got Australian groups, not just religious groups, but medical groups, people with diseases, vilified and threatened with intimidation of physical force and violence. That is not acceptable in Australia. There are also
we've got state laws for that, Malcolm, and I said that to you.
Terrorism concepts here.
We have state laws for violence,
what we did was
Malcolm.
we decided that we would send a signal to those people that we see some merit in doing hate crimes. And I'm pleased you call it the hate crimes, not hate speech, the hate crimes bill, because that's what the title was. We said we'd send a signal to them that we don't appreciate the fact that they're living in under threats of violence and terror in this country. So we send a signal by abstaining. You know that just as well as I do, that sending a vote sometimes sends a signal.
Abstaining doesn't send a signal at all, Malcolm. And I said to you that we've already got laws at the state level that deal with violent crimes, and this is a duplication of laws at the federal level, and we don't need it because it just increases the size of the surveillance and security state at the federal level when state governments are actually responsible for violent and policing violent crimes.
Well, we got legal advice to say that it is necessary.
Well, can you explain why?
Because sometimes the states look at Men's in New South Wales. We've had Nazi symbols flying, and that's supposed to be a crime. So
when Chris Richardson is currently under court case in sorry, is it Chris Richardson? Sorry, I might have the wrong name there. I've just had a mind blank. Or Pete Evans got abused for putting up a black sun symbol that he didn't even know was a Nazi symbol. Are you saying under those hate crime laws, they could go to jail even though they weren't aware of what they were doing? Now, the good faith amendment would have at least given them a chance to explain, well, we were actually, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I looked at that black sun symbol and I didn't even know it was a Nazi sign myself. When I looked at it, I thought I could have posted that not knowing what I was doing. I think it's Chris Richardson in Victoria, like he was honouring his grandparents saying they fought Nazis and the ABC is trying to take him to court. So don't you think there should have been a good faith amendment in that you should have voted for that good faith amendment so the people who had no intentions of offending anyone, because that was the law, it wasn't to do with violence, it was from intent to reckless behaviour. There is absolutely no provision now where people have, their actions have been mistaken. There is no provision now for a good faith provision to exempt those people, or children who under 14 who wouldn't understand what they were doing when they did these things. Why don't you think those amendments should have got up?
Gerard, we did not support the bill. You falsely
You
said
voted
we
against the amendment, Malcolm.
We
voted
did not.
against those
You asked me
amendments.
about the bill. We did not support the bill. We did not support the bill.
Well,
You told
when
a
you
lie
vote
in
against
saying that we
amendments
did.
and then
You
don't turn
told a
up to
lie
the
in saying
final
that
vote,
there were many things, and you know it just as well as I do. That bill was rushed into the Senate. It should not have been voted on. It should not have been guillotined.
that bill was known about for
stitch-up.
weeks. It was on the notice paper for weeks, Malcolm, and we knew that it was going to actually get guillotined on the last day. I was waiting for it. I mean, Alex Antic and I were talking about it weeks in advance.
And what we did was we did not support the bill. And it was a lie when you told people that
You
we
voted
did.
against the amendment. No. It would have been a lie
if we can just let
Yeah.
Senator Roberts reply, because it is directed him initially. I am conscious of time as well, Senator Roberts.
Well, there were two aspects of Gerard's original question. One was that why am I calling him a liar? Why am I saying he lied? Because he did lie. That's a fact. That's a fact. And he not only let the lie out there, he then left it out there for 220,000 people on X to see and to like. That was deliberate and blatant.
It wasn't deliberate, and I corrected it the following day, which you've never acknowledged.
No, you didn't, Gerard.
I explained why I took the position that you supported the bill.
You left the video up there
Friday
saying
morning.
you left your video up there saying
Because it
that
wasn't
One
just about
Nation
you, Malcolm. It
joined
was a
with the
6-minute
Liberal
video.
and Labor parties to support the bill. That is a lie.
It was a 6-minute video, Malcolm. It wasn't just about
That
you.
was
I
the
corrected the
opening
record on the
sentence,
Friday.
Gerard. That was the opening sentence, mate. You
Yeah, and
told
you
a
did.
lie.
You voted against amendments,
And
and Pauline and yourself said you were going to support it.
In the day before in the Senate, you were talking about the culture in the Liberal Party of dishonesty. And yet you told a lie, and yet you left that lie up there. That lie was sent around the world.
It's not a lie, Malcolm. If you don't support something, if you don't turn up to vote, your job is to turn up and vote in the Senate on important bills. I get sometimes there's procedural votes, but this was a very important bill that had to do with actually freedom of speech. And while it was called a hate crimes bill, it was designed to go after people who said things that could have been symbols of hate. The law changed from intent to reckless behaviour, so people could now, be mandatory thrown in jail for saying things. And you think that's all right? I mean, I'm disappointed in you that you can't acknowledge that you have not actually stood up against free speech in this country.
Gerard, we were the first to want to enshrine free speech in the Constitution, and we made a motion in the Senate to that effect. What we also
and
did,
I crossed the floor and voted with you on that one.
We said, remember, we didn't get an opportunity to speak in the Senate on the hate crimes bill.
Actually, you could. You weren't there, Malcolm.
I'm really just conscious of time. Leo. If Malcolm Roberts, Senator Roberts, can just make a final statement on this before we move it, because I know
Pauline and I told us.
Go ahead.
Pauline and I told the people that we were opposed to the bill because it was reckless, the language was not right, it was too loose and sloppy. We recognize that, but we wanted to send a signal to the people who are living in this country under threats of physical violence and force. We did not support the bill. What you said was we did, and that was a lie, and you left that lie up there as the opening to your video.
Yep. I'll stay there because you didn't vote against it.
We will leave it. We will leave it.
That means you can stay a lie.